how are you? Hope you're good. So today I'm here with hopefully an exciting video for you guys. I'm gonna be talking about my autumn/Halloween book recommendations. This has been highly requested. I did make one video of my autumn recommendation reads last year or year before that, I don't remember. I'm gonna try and not repeat myself with the books that I mentioned there, so if you're interested, go ahead and check that one out. So a while ago. As most of you will know, I have been living with anxiety disorder for a big part of my life, and I am most of the time anxious about a lot of things, so I don't really like seek out scary movies or reads, although I don't get as sensitive towards like books and I don't get as scared when reading, but I don't like actively reach out for scary spooky reads, but I've found some that I thought could maybe go for Halloween if you're looking for that kind of vibe. And some of them are just like autumnal reads that I think would be perfect to cuddle up with on your sofa with a mug of hot chocolate and a candle, and while it's raining outside and windy and everyone's miserable and you're just like so cozy with your blanket reading, you know? Autumn is a perfect reading season. I feel like even people who don't usually read would read in autumn, so it's just a little bit special, you know, something about autumn. So I have 11 read recommendations for you guys today. I'm very excited to get into them, but just before that, really quickly, I would love to talk to you about today's video sponsor, and that is BetterHelp. I have mentioned BetterHelp previously on this channel because I really believe in them. You guys know that I really try to advocate for mental health awareness on this channel regardless, so it's just overall very important in my life, and the holiday season is approaching, and that time, whilst really magical, for some people it's very difficult. So BetterHelp is a platform that offers professional and affordable online therapy. If you go onto their website, you just fill in a very brief questionnaire to be matched with a counselor extremely quickly. You can be matched today. I know from personal experience here in UK, if you seek help through your GP, you can be put on a year waiting list, and I know that in America and a lot of other places, going private route is extremely expensive, so compared to that, BetterHelp is much cheaper. It runs on a monthly fee basis, however it's not based on the amount of sessions, and so you get unlimited amount of sessions throughout that month. Maybe you need to talk to somebody every single day, and you could do that with BetterHelp. It's also great for people who are on busy schedule, or maybe for some reason you are not very comfortable with face-to-face interaction or leaving your house as well. You can choose to have Skype calls with your therapist, as well as you can just chat online. I also think it's really important to mention that you don't have to wait until you get into a really difficult state of mind. If you think that you could benefit from speaking to somebody, or if you want to improve a particular part of your life and make better choices and have some advice, to me, this is like gym version for your mental health. So it's pretty much a no-brainer for most people to have a gym membership, and this is to me exactly the same. So I highly recommend you at least check it out. The link is gonna be in the description down below. Thank you so much for BetterHelp for sponsoring this video, and let's get into it. I'll start with the ones that I have already read, and I have a few that I haven't read but I really want to, and especially in this season I just have the feeling that they will be perfect as well. So first of all, I had to mention this, like I'm sorry, so I'm just gonna get it out of the way so people don't get mad at me. But Harry Potter, of course, because it is autumn. September is when it all started, when you go to your 9 3/4 platform, and you know, you all know what Harry Potter is about. I don't have to spend time mentioning it, but I feel like when autumn comes, it's just like I'm getting emotional even thinking about it, because it's perfect. Okay, moving on. A book that I have actually finished fairly recently, and that is The Wicked Deep. Even though the cover is not autumnal at all, don't get discouraged. It definitely has some creepy aspects to it, so it would be perfect for Halloween. Essentially, this book is about this island that gets haunted by 3 sisters. Every year during the swan season, because those are swan sisters, these sisters resurrect themselves from the sea and inhabit 3 girls that they don't remember what happened throughout the summer while they were inhabited by these 3 sisters, and they are seeking revenge on men of this island. So I really think this qualifies as a spooky read, because I mean, that is pretty disturbing. If you're looking for a comic to read during Halloween, I think Lock and Key is by far one of the greatest choices there is for that kind of read, because not only the writer for this is Stephen King's son, and Stephen King is known for spookier reads. I haven't actually read any of his books, so they're not in here, but I'm assuming any Stephen King is great for spookier read, and this is his son, and I don't think he ventured far off the family aesthetic. So this is about a family who suffer a loss, and the father of the family is murdered. The mother with 3 kids has to move into this family mansion. The youngest kid stumbles upon something extremely supernatural, and this is all about different keys with different abilities, but also darker themes like trauma and loneliness. It's actually very gory, so it's definitely not for younger readers, and there's a lot of graphic murderous scenes, and the whole like style is very, you know, it's dark, it's grim. Then there's Vicious by V.E. Schwab. Vicious is a story about 2 best friends that are currently enemies, and we're looking back at the story of why they became enemies. When we start the book, one of them is in jail, and it's not necessarily the one that you would think. And so we're going back and forth between the current timeline and their history, and we're trying to puzzle pieces together. These are 2 overachievers, really motivated and ambitious people who wanted to push science further than they thought possible. They're both pretty arrogant, and they thought that because they pretty much know everything there is to know, they need to find something extraordinary. And so they start to look into those extraordinary people and how to get the powers, and they discover that the only way to gain extraordinary powers is so the person has to die but come back, so we have a near-death experience, and then he would have some sort of ability. This, however, does have a lot of self-harm triggers. I will mention that. It gets pretty graphic, so keep that in mind if something like that and just general theme of death is not something you're very comfortable. This gets pretty much in there, so I really enjoyed it. And plus the second one is coming out really soon, so that's another incentive for you to grab this if you fancy, and it's beloved by a lot of people. Similarly with the theme of death, but a bit of a lighter note, I think, there is Scythe by Neil Shusterman. This is about a world where everything that could have been discovered is basically discovered. People don't have to go to work to get money. People can reverse their aging and jump back to their 20s, and no one dies of natural causes. Very advanced artificial intelligence is basically governing everything other than this one body of Scythes. And Scythes are the only people in this universe that can actually kill people permanently. So it's almost like a population control. Our 2 main characters are put into the competition of who will become the Scythe, because there can only be 1 per trainer or mentor, but it really quickly escalates from that point, and there's bigger issues at hand, and I really enjoyed it. I will say that I'm currently listening to the second one called Thunderhead, and I'm enjoying that one so much more. So it's not like I didn't like this, it was alright. I think it was a week 4 stars or something like that, but the second one is like really, I'm really enjoying the second one, so I will say that. So as well, perfect for Halloween or autumn season because it's a bit darker. Another book, and not even the last, of V.E. Schwab is This Savage Song. This is a book about a city that is separated into, and one side is pretty much ruled by monsters or governed by monsters, and on the other side humans have a very wealthy human is ruling, and people need to pay for their safety. But this is also the world where human crime births actual monsters, so physical monsters are born from acts of violence. However, a particular monster that we have as one of the main characters is not something you would expect of a monster, and we have another morally grey human whose path really intertwines with this monster of ours, and it has very dark undertones, as you would imagine, with the world that births monsters out of crimes. And I thought that it's a really good book to read in autumn, and it's also really easy to read, easier than I thought. If you're looking for a manga recommendation, I would definitely recommend both the anime and the manga of Attack on Titan. I watched the anime for the first 2 seasons, and I'm continuing in manga form for the next volume, so it starts on 14, I believe, if you want to do the same. This is such a gory story. This is the world where humans are forced into, not sort of hiding, but they live in protected areas with these massive walls that are really hard to penetrate, because they're hiding from titans, and titans are these creatures that seem very unintelligent and very cruel, who are killing and eating humans, but seems to be like, it gets very complicated, and it's very dark, and I loved it so much. I really highly recommend this. It's a very sad story. We have a lot of lovable characters and a lot of action as well. Just really recommend for Halloween or autumn read. Then we have Nevernight. Now this is a book about basically an assassin's academy, and the writing is very autumnal. I didn't even know there was such a thing until I really sat down to think about the books I should recommend, but I was like, this is such an autumnal writing. I don't know, it's just very floral. It's not necessarily my favorite writing style, but the story I really did enjoy. But I just felt like the whole narration and the vibe this book gave me was so autumnal and dark, definitely for dark nights. Highly recommend that. But this is about our character Mia, who has lost everything and she's building herself up. It's basically part of this assassin academy, and she's just not having the best time of her life, but she's a very strong character. And there's also a world where some people have shadow familiars, so if you're into that kind of thing, she has a shadow cat and is pretty witty and sarcastic, so I really recommend you try and check this one out. It gets quite dark in places as well. Pretty much the theme around these recommendations, isn't it? And then I have 3 books that I haven't read yet, but I really strongly believe that they would be perfect as well. The first one is by Victoria Schwab again, and this is City of Ghosts. This is actually a middle grade. It's a new release. It just came out last month, I believe. It's a short book, and it's a girl who is able to communicate and see ghosts. I don't know much about it, but it is set in Edinburgh, and Edinburgh can be pretty spooky in dark hours because it's a very old city, and the architecture is very spooky and magical, and it's one of the reasons why I love my city. But yeah, it's set in Edinburgh. If you're into spookiness but you want to take it in small doses that would not, you know, scare you crapless, then I think this might be a good go. This is probably why I'm gonna read it as well. Then we have Battle Royale by Hoshun Takami. Battle Royale, I think, is supposed to be a more grotesque and a crueler version of Hunger Games. It was actually released before Hunger Games, so this might be where the inspiration for that book came from. It's actually quite a whopper. It's over 600 pages, but I heard pretty good things about it. I believe it's set in Japan and it's supposed to be fairly grotesque, so I think this is an adult book, and I just feel like this could be extremely good read and good pick for this time of year. I also just remembered another comic that would be great for this. I don't have it with me, and I read it years ago, but Sin City would be perfect for Halloween as well. And the last one, we have Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman. I think Neil Gaiman also writes books that are very good around this season, but I actually haven't read any of his, and I haven't read this yet, but it was a gift from Jess. I think it's about hidden London and a mysterious girl that is found bleeding on the pavement and is brought back to life, and it just gives me that like sort of creepy whimsical vibe, almost like maybe Tim Burton kind of feel, you know. But as I said, I haven't read it, so I don't really know, but I feel like this could be possibly another one to grab this autumn. And that is actually everything. I do think these books are perfect for autumn and Halloween season. Let me know what you guys think. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let me know down below. What is the most autumnal read that you've ever read? Let me know if you're planning to read any of those this season. I would love to know that. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Stay awesome, stay kind, and I'll see you very soon. Bye!